Welcome everyone, my name is Ben Dubin, certified Wim Hof Method instructor, as well as firefighter paramedic in Tempe, Arizona, and this is your introduction video to our advanced breathing sessions. Today what we're going to talk about is the Wim Hof Method, what are the three pillars of the method, some safety considerations, the benefits of doing the method, specifically the breathing, why we do the breathing, how it works, the benefits of the breathing, and then some of the science related to what we're actually feeling. Because feeling leads to understanding, but we need to understand what's happening within inside our body to truly get a good picture of why it is we need to commit to a method like this. So, a couple of things about the Wim Hof Method. Safety, most important aspect of it. We never practice this breathing method while we're driving or in or around any body of water. And we only practice this breathing method. The two people that cannot do it are those that are pregnant or those that have a history of epilepsy. Outside of that, there's really no major contraindications. So, what is the Wim Hof Method? The Wim Hof Method is named after a gentleman named Wim Hof, who is from the Netherlands. And through his challenges in his life, he found these three pillars of breath work, gradual exposure to the cold, as well as commitment, helped him learn how to handle, process, and let go of stress. And because of all the challenges he had and the benefits he got from doing this practice on a consistent basis, it was his goal to show the world what's truly possible when we connect to our breath and connect to ourself. And the whole method is based on a term called Hormesis. What is Hormesis? Hormesis is exposing your body, your physiology, whatever part of you, to the right amount of stress for the right amount of time to adapt and become stronger. Whereas if you expose yourself to that same stress for too much time, it would be detrimental. For instance, let's say someone's working out. Usually we have a certain amount of sets and repetitions and then a period of recovery in between those sets of repetitions or even between workouts from one day to the next. What if someone decided just to do the workout, the same muscle group, for 5 hours in a row? What's going to happen? Chances are we're going to get hurt. So we have a certain stress, but the amount of time we're under that stress could cause problems. So that's why it's very important to follow very strict protocols when it comes to this method within the breath work and the cold. So I'm going to touch on the cold really quick up front, but then we're going to focus the majority of our time about learning the breathing. So the cold. Why do we use the cold? The cold is a very safe, efficient teacher. And I say it's safe for these reasons. Our body, our physiology has certain barriers or buffers in place to protect us from becoming too cold. For instance, as humans, if we're out in a very cold environment, what's the first thing our body does? It shivers. We start to move around those tiny muscles within inside our body to generate heat to warm ourselves up. It's almost a warning sign saying, hey, if we don't get somewhere warm right now, we're going to have some problems. And even going further down the line, another protective aspect we have with the cold is frostbite. Our body would much rather lose a finger or a toe than sacrifice one of our core internal organs. So there's buffers in place to keep us safe with the cold. So I get the question a lot, why don't we train in the heat? Well, the problem is with the heat, once we get to that heat exhaustion or heat stroke phase within our training, it is very unsafe. It really taxes your cardiovascular system to a point where you don't want it to be taxed and it becomes extremely dangerous. As well as the warning signs are sometimes very hard to notice before it's too late. So all the cold is for us is just a physical external stress to teach us how we handle, process, and let go of that stress. Now within the Wim Hof Method, it's very important to take a very gradual approach to cold exposure. If we jump into a 35-degree cold tub every single day for a week, it's going to tax our nervous system to the point where things are going to start being compromised. It needs to be a very slow, gradual process to learn how to build up the adaptation to that specific stress. So it needs to be done safely within very, very strict protocols. And the way that we tell people how to get started is with your shower. Wherever you are, take a hot shower as long as you want, and then for 30 seconds, just turn that handle all the way cold and just see what happens. See how you react. Where are your thoughts going? Is your mind going? What is your body doing? It's for you to learn how you react to an external stress in a very safe, controlled environment. Then after 30 seconds, all you do is turn it all the way back to warm and just enjoy the rest of your shower. Do that for a week, 2 weeks, as long as you feel comfortable. Then when you feel ready, like you have control within those 30 seconds, you go to a minute. And then the next week, 1.5 minutes, and then 2 minutes, and gradually increase the time you're exposing your body, your mind, your physiology to that stress to help you learn how to adapt and become stronger in the face of it. All right, moving on to the breath. What is the breath work? So there's many different types of breath work within the Wim Hof Method. In our advanced breathing practice, we are doing what's called the foundational breathing technique. And it is so important to make sure you build a strong foundation before we start going off to do other types of breathing. The foundational breath work focuses on your internal physiology, using oxygen and carbon dioxide to allow you to hold your breath for a much longer time than you thought possible. So why and how does it work? As humans, we breathe based off the amount of carbon dioxide or CO2 inside our body. So the higher the carbon dioxide, the faster and harder we have to breathe, and the lower the carbon dioxide, the less we have to breathe. That's why when we're working out and running really fast, we're building up all these waste gases, we have to breathe really, really fast to help maintain some sort of homeostasis. However, if we're able to switch that ratio and lower carbon dioxide down all the way and raise oxygen up, well, this is going to allow us to not have to breathe for a long period of time. It's what free divers use. Now, this is not a free diving exercise, but this is very similar to what they do as far as purging their CO2 and raising their oxygen. One of the world records I saw recently was one diver held his breath for 22 minutes. So all it shows is that we are way more capable of the things than we thought we were capable of. So within our breath work, how do we do this? As a group, what we would do in an advanced breathing practice, this is exactly what we do, is we're going to breathe for about 2.5 minutes. And all we're doing during that time is shifting that ratio of CO2 and oxygen. And I'll talk about the mechanics of the breathing here in a second. So as we're breathing for 2.5 minutes, we're lowering the CO2 down, raising the oxygen up. And then we're going to hold our breath, called the breath retention. And what this allows us to do, it allows our oxygen saturation to drop, and our CO2 slightly rises. But since this is our trigger to breathe, we can hold our breath even though our oxygen is lowering. And what this does is it kind of tricks the brain into thinking you're in a fight or flight situation. So what this allows you to do, it allows you to keep holding your breath while you're tapping into the sympathetic nervous system, releasing adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol, teaching you how to remain safe and calm even though you're facing a stressful situation. So after the 2.5 minutes of breathing, we hold our breath for a period of time, and then all we do, when you feel the need, you take your recovery breath in, and you hold it to resaturate all the oxygen that we just depleted. And that's all it is. And a lot of people ask, well, how do we breathe, nose or mouth? Ideally, we go in through our nose and out through our mouth. But you know what? It's kind of up to you. You do what feels comfortable in your practice and try different techniques. I prefer in my nose and out my mouth. Also want to think about our diaphragm sits right beneath our rib cage. You want to think about on every single inhale, bring your diaphragm up as much as possible and then bring all the air into your chest, filling up every inch of your body on the inhale, and on the exhale, you just gently let it go. A common misconception is people force the air out. What I don't want to see is something like this. I don't want to see you breathe in and then blow out. I want to see a deep breath in as much as you can and then just gently relaxed. That's all it is, one breath after the other until we get to that breath retention. Most important aspect of the practice is commitment. You can get good benefits from doing this every other day, a couple times a week. To me, where I got the most benefits and other people I've talked to is when they truly commit at least 5 days a week to somehow doing the breath work. For me, I prefer it in the morning. Some people prefer it at night. It allows you to sit down, practice, takes 15 to 20 minutes. That's all it is of commitment each and every day to learn how to change your life, learning how to handle, process, and let go of truly any stress you can face. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you at the Exos at-home platform for the advanced breathing practice. Again, my name is Ben Dubin, and we'll see you soon.